Haryana result jolts Team Rahul. After big upset, Congress in introspection mode. Selja, Surjewala and Hooda not invited for the key meeting. Blame game over poll rout.
पार्टी ने ही एक बागी उम्मीदवार खड़ा करके और पूरे षड्यंत्र के तौर पे चुनाव हराने की कोशिश भी करी और वो उनकी मंशा पूरी भी, उन्होंने चुनाव हराया गया है।
Knives out in Congress camp.
प्रभारी महोदय हैं, वो अगर बीमार थे तो किसी और को अपना जिम्मा दे दिया होता।
Decoding Congress's Haryana debacle. The big focus on 6 p.m. Prime.
Hello and welcome. Good evening. You're watching 6 p.m. Prime here on India Today. I'm Akshata Nandagopal, back after a short break to get you all the top stories over the next 60 minutes. Our focus particularly on what went wrong for the Congress. It's been 2 days since the results came in from the Haryana elections, and the Congress now is in introspection mode. We'll get to the inside track of what exactly transpired in a top leadership huddle and Rahul Gandhi's message to the Haryana Congress unit. And our top focus this evening is on the big political updates coming in from the Congress top brass huddle that was held earlier today. Big upset, of course, in the Haryana Assembly elections for the Congress, and they're trying to figure out exactly what went wrong, because they thought they had this one in the bag, only for the BJP to take away Haryana once again from the Congress. The top brass has been holding key huddles. Rahul Gandhi, Mallika, Arjun, Kharge and several of the leadership, including those who were in charge for Haryana, came together today to identify what really was the problem. We will decode the names also for you of who should be held accountable for what went wrong for Congress. But Rahul Gandhi today in that meeting said very clearly he believes the problem of what played out in Haryana is that leaders' interests are being put above parties' interests. Is that really the case? What has the Congress found out actually went wrong on the ground in Haryana? We'll decode that and much more. Let's begin with this report of what we've picked up on that huddle that took place.
Days after the Haryana upset, the Congress now is in introspection mode. The party high command has been in huddle after huddle to figure out what led to the Haryana debacle and who is to blame. Congress chief Mallika Kharge chaired a meet today at his residence, and while Rahul Gandhi and all the top leaders were in attendance, what made headlines was who wasn't. Reportedly, Kumari Selja and Randeep Singh Surjewala weren't invited to the huddle. Bhupinder Singh Hooda too didn't turn up. Sources tell India Today that Rahul Gandhi, rather critical of the state Congress unit, said that the party's interests came second and leaders' interests took over the entire election.
As per the sources, party will be taking action against those leaders who they believe actually damage electoral prospects of the Congress in the state of Haryana.
But dissent within the Congress camp is growing. Congress's Captain Ajay Yadav, who was also not invited for the introspection huddle, lashed out at the Congress Haryana chief.
बाबरिया जी तो अस्पताल में थे ना, अगर वो अस्पताल में थे तो हाथ जोड़ के कह दिया होता कि भैया मैं बीमार हूँ, किसी और को जगह दे देते, अपना स्थान जो है प्रभारी का उनको किसी और को दे देना चाहिए था.
Candidates who've lost in the election are also angry. They blame the party for their loss.
भूपिंदर सिंह पुरी को चुनाव हराया गया है. पार्टी ने ही एक बागी उम्मीदवार खड़ा करके और पूरे षड्यंत्र के तौर पे चुनाव हराने की कोशिश भी करी और वो उनकी मंशा पूरी भी, उन्होंने चुनाव हराया गया है.
It's now clear that there was complete mismanagement of the election by the Congress, and the top brass is reportedly miffed with KC Venugopal too. He's the General Secretary organization. The BJP's Amit Malviya has now fired a sensational casting couch charge, claiming Venugopal gave seats to women netas who were close to him. The Congress's tough reality check in Haryana has sparked dialogue within the party over what went wrong. But will heads roll in the Congress leadership for failing to seal what seemed to be their election to win? With Mausami Singh and Rahul Gautam, Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's open this up to discuss exactly what happened in that meeting. Joining us is Preeti Chaudhary. She's joining us live from our newsroom. We've got Maushmi Singh, who tracks very closely the Congress camp for us, joining us live from Delhi, and Manjit Sehgal joining us from Chandigarh. Maushmi, I'd like to begin with you on the big takeaways really from that meeting. We ended our report with a big question on whether heads will roll. Is that a likelihood? Who are they putting the onus on, the Congress top brass?
Akshita, truly it's very preliminary to say that the onus will be lying with whom, because this is just the start of the entire brainstorming and introspection and post-mortem of the Congress party. And we saw, the state leaders were kept away. Of course, the state in charge, Deepak Babaria, joined through Zoom conferencing. The secretaries joined, and we had the observers, the General Secretary organization along with Rahul Gandhi and Kharge deliberating in the morning. But apart from the EVM suspicion and speculation that the Congress is raising, there is a battery of allegations, a battery of failures that the top leadership will have to deal with. And the question will really arise that why did the top brass fail to see what was coming? Because in the face of it, this is a very, very warring unit. We've seen that daggers have been out ever since the results rolled out. Every candidate is making allegations at one camp or the other, whether it's the Selja camp or the Hooda camp or the Randeep camp. So it's going to be a very, very hard-hitting and very, very embarrassing post-mortem for the Congress party.
As much as the onus is on the state unit, it will also be on the top brass for ignoring the blatant and open factionalism within the party. They believe that despite that, they have this win in the bag, which wasn't clearly the case. Let me also bring in Preeti Chaudhary on this. Preeti, we picked up from our sources that in the meeting, Rahul Gandhi reportedly said he believed the problem was that leaders put their own interests above that of the parties. Do you think that really was the case when you were on the campaign trail? Did you sense that also, that most of the Congress leaders were all about I, me, myself, and not really the party?
Well, Akshita, daggers were drawn all through the campaign of Haryana. It was very obvious to see that. You knew there was intense amount of factionalism. You knew there was a Kumari Selja camp. You knew Kumari Selja would come out openly, especially in the last two, weeks of the campaign, fall into the trap of the narrative that BJP was building, that the Congress was anti-Dalit, because she kept coming out repeatedly and expressing, how possibly she was being taken for granted. On the other hand, you did understand, and you do know that the Hoodas under which this entire campaign was run, they were not projected as the CM face where Bhupinder Hooda was concerned, but practically this election was run under the banner of the Hoodas, and right in the front was Bhupinder Singh Hooda. And when you talk about factionalism, on the face of it, of course, you've had the Hoodas who would always say that Kumari Selja is a senior leader, and, we value her. And she's one of the strong leaders in Haryana. But at the back of it, if you look at it, 70 seats which the Hoodas were given in terms of ticket distribution. This was something that didn't go down well at all, where the other camps or the other senior leadership of the Congress was concerned. Many would say, and today some of them have come out openly. You have one of the candidates from the district of Ambala fighting on one of the seats, who openly says that there was factionalism and one side tried to undercut the other. On the other side, there were 12 rebels of the Congress party, which I think somewhere down the line, the Hoodas, the top leadership, state leadership of the Congress thought that, that they could continue to fight on their own and they'd be able to ramrod through what they thought was a tsunami of the Congress. Lots of speculations. Number 4, if you look at it, Akshita, there are 5 seats where the Aam Aadmi Party has polled more than the winning margin of the Bharatiya Janata Party. So who was it who scuttled the alliance with the Aam Aadmi Party when Rahul Gandhi had actually given a thumbs up to it before he left for America? Because all of that, as per the Aam Aadmi Party, then was ruined by the local leadership of the Congress. So yes, there are questions being raised today of KC Venugopal as well, the General Secretary organization. Why were certain tickets given to people close to KC Venugopal? the Bharatiya Janata Party, the IT cell chief of BJP, Amit Malviya, has even gone to the extent of alleging that there was a casting couch at play. Correct. But away from all of that, one thing, Akshata, is very clear, that there was factionalism. Did it lead to sabotage? And if it is clear it led to sabotage, will heads roll? Knowing the Congress, it won't, because there'll be a lot of, there'll be committees after committees. But we saw that happen in Rajasthan. Nothing really happened. The writing's been on the wall for the Congress, especially where state unit elections are concerned. But most of the time, they refuse to read it.
Very true. In this case, too, there's talk of a committee being formed. So it's essentially the same script that's playing out now as well. I also want to address the K.C. Venugopal question, but we'll get to that in a bit. I want to bring in Manjeet Sehgal before that. Manjeet, now, even as you've had this huddle taking place in Delhi, there are candidates now who've lost, who've contested on a Congress ticket, directly pinning the blame on the state unit, naming and shaming leaders, not shying away, not hesitating from blaming the party, saying Congress has ensured our defeat.
Akshita, as Preeti said, that factionalism is to be blamed most for the Congress's debacle in Haryana polls, while other parties, particularly the Bharatiya Janata Party, was targeting the other backward classes, and the Dalits. Congress was busy fighting the two communities, like the Dalits and the Selja. Now, Kumari Selja has come out to open criticizing the Hooda faction, saying she was not kept in the loop. They were not on the speaking terms. Deepak Babaria, who's the state affairs in charge, was not speaking to her. Both the leaders, be it Hooda or Selja, were carrying out separate yatras in the state. And secondly, there were castious remarks against Kumari Selja. These remarks were made by none other than one of the supporters who belonged to the Hooda faction. So Kumari Selja was off the track, did not campaign for at least 2 weeks. That gave enough time for the Bharatiya Janata Party to rake up the Dalit issue, the Mirchpur incident in which houses of Dalits were torched and 2 Dalits were burnt alive. So this is another reason. And thirdly, Bharatiya Janata Party very carefully planned their campaign and tried to categorize the Dalits. Kumari Selja's community is considered as the influential community, but Bharatiya Janata Party considered and fielded the candidates from the Ati Vanchit, even most deprived Dalit community leaders. So Bharatiya Janata Party is able to win 4 more seats as compared to 2019, and Congress was able to retain a few seats, but lost even the Jat land. So Congress not only was able to polarize the
and tell me, essentially it's where strategizing happened as far as the BJP and Congress is concerned, that the Congress really lacked in. The BJP was on a weak footing, but worked on their strategy, worked on their campaign that gave them the edge, whereas the Congress pushed everything under the carpet, including all of the factionalism that all of you tell me about. And that's what perhaps led to this kind of a drubbing for them. Preeti, Manjeet, thank you. I will ask Maushmi to stay on with me, because as we decode what really happened to the Congress and the Haryana game plan, because they thought that this was something that they're definitely going to win, so much so that early in the morning they were expressing 100% confidence that the BJP wouldn't even get 20 seats. And then look how it completely turned around. Let's take some names here of who really is to blame for the Congress's terrible performance in Haryana. The first one, man on your screens here, is Bhupinder Singh Hooda, who's been essentially the headline maker for the Congress, was given full power by the High Command. He played big brother in ticket distribution. And what we mean by that is, of the 90 seats, nearly 70 of them were all of his loyalists, his pick. And the Congress gave him a free hand to do that as well. So essentially, he bulldozed over all other leaders' opinions in the state unit. Put all eggs in the Jat basket. Essentially said that, look, the Jat belt is something that we will focus on. But what about the other belts? What about the other communities? There was no effort to really reach out to them. So there was no plan B in place whatsoever. Allowed personal rivalry to trump party interest. That's perhaps what Rahul Gandhi also was referring to. The fact that the entire issue was about whether I have a problem with this leader or that, not about who really can win on a party ticket. And you'll see this point coming up fairly often with several other leaders too. Then there was the issue of Congress rebels, and there were several of them during the ticket distribution. There was no effort made by the Hoodas to actually reach out to them, and that proved to be costly for the Congress as well. The campaign in Haryana was all about the Hoodas. Their face was on the ticket. Their face was, in fact, being projected as that of the Congress. Local issues weren't raised, issues that matter to the people. None of that was spoken about. It was all about Hooda being the headline grabber for the Congress in Haryana. He also underestimated the impact of independents. Many of these independents were fielded by the BJP to essentially hit the Congress's vote bank. And it worked as a strategy because Hooda, despite being a seasoned veteran politician, didn't see this really having an impact, didn't read through that particular strategy. And then, of course, failed to accommodate alliance partners. Preeti earlier explained to you how the Aam Aadmi Party could have played a big role in really helping Congress consolidate in some of those seats. But remember that the Congress Haryana unit was against the alliance, particularly Bhupinder Singh Hooda. Let's get to the other names. There's K.C. Venugopal, General Secretary Organization for the Congress. He was someone who was also handling the Haryana campaign actively. Ignored all voices of the state unit on candidate selection, went with one opinion, that of Bhupinder Singh Hooda, and that's proved to be costly because you've got so many big heavyweights in the Haryana unit of the Congress. None of their opinions were actually sought. They went single-mindedly with what Hooda said, and that was because of K.C. Venugopal's advice perhaps to the High Command. He was accused of also backing his loyalists for tickets, something that the BJP has taken forward now, and even alleged casting couch, saying that whoever was friendly with K.C. Venugopal was getting tickets and they've all lost. Now, remember that he was someone who's advised the Gandhis actively in many elections, including this one in Haryana. And he reportedly advised the Gandhis against the alliance with the Aam Aadmi Party, against the alliance with the Samajwadi Party. There has been a lot of talk that that too has proved costly for the Congress. Not a game changer, but definitely would have helped them consolidate in some of the seats. And essentially, like we mentioned in the first point, he made Hooda all-powerful in calling the shots in Haryana. Was there factionalism? Yes. Was there a rift? Yes. Were candidates unhappy? Were there rebels? 100%. All of that pushed aside, K.C. Venugopal made it clear to the High Command that he will give all power to Bhupinder Singh Hooda despite the evident cracks. Let's talk about the third leader who people will put the blame on again for what's happened in Haryana. And that is Kumari Selja. She publicly vented her ire against the Hoodas. Again, everyone knew about what was playing out in the Congress Haryana unit, about the fact that there was no love lost between Kumari Selja and the Hoodas. And that was evident in the campaign too. They didn't hold back. So a similar point as Hooda, which is that she allowed personal rivalry to trump party interest. At no point did Kumari Selja and Hooda say, look, we'll sit down, we'll discuss our differences to ensure that the party wins. That didn't happen. Personal rivalry took over. And she hardly campaigned for the Congress. Remember that she is the biggest Dalit face for the Congress in Haryana. And she barely campaigned because she was miffed over the fact that she wasn't allowed to go ahead and field all of her loyalists. And therefore, she also played into BJP's anti-Dalit narrative. How? She constantly voiced her frustration publicly, didn't hold back from criticizing the Congress, didn't hold back over the fact that she wasn't given a ticket. And so by voicing her frustration, she handed it over on a platter to the BJP, which constantly kept saying that, look, Dalits are being insulted by the Congress. One more name in this list, that of Randeep Surjewala. He limited himself to campaigning only in his son's constituency, didn't focus on the whole Haryana picture. Essentially, the messaging was that, look, I want my son to win and nothing more. He also fueled the Haryana Congress factionalism, much like Kumari Selja, much like Hooda as well. He was very vocal about really the issues and differences that he has and the fact that he doesn't see eye to eye with several Haryana Congress leaders within his own party. And much like Hooda, much like Kumari Selja, allowed personal rivalry to trump party interest. And perhaps it's this point that's proven to be the most and the biggest weakness for the Congress, something that Rahul Gandhi is also referred to. Let me bring in Rahul Gautam on this broadcast. Rahul, one question everyone's asking right now, and you track the Congress for us. You've been also tracking what happened in that introspection beat. A lot of questions being asked on K.C. Venugopal, on whether his loyalists were given tickets, on whether he read the ground situation wrong, and whether he gave wrong advice to the High Command. Is there going to be any action against K.C. Venugopal, Rahul?
Akshita, I myself spoke with one of the leaders who was present in this important meeting that was held at Congress residence. And I asked the specific question that, Congress party has been saying that action will be taken when Congress lost in Madhya Pradesh, in Chhattisgarh, in Rajasthan. We all know that how infighting played a very important role as far as Congress debacles in these three primarily states are concerned, and whether this time some accountability will be fixed, as far as these leaders are concerned. So, but we've been informed from our sources that party this time is all set to take action. In fact, they are taking feedbacks from the senior observers like Ashok Gehlot, Ajay Makan, and the other secretaries that were attached, in that particular state. Apart from this, the AICC observers that were appointed in various Lok Sabha seats, they are taking feedback from these people. And then post-Dashera, this is what we're learning from our sources, post-Dashera, action will be taken against those leaders who said to have damaged the electoral prospects of the Grand Old Party. As far as K.C. Venugopal is concerned, you rightly pointed out that buck stops at his office. He is the General Secretary of the organization, and you can say that he is a very important part of the information mechanism as far as Rahul Gandhi and the top leadership is concerned. And as we can see,
he's very close to Rahul Gandhi, which is why there's a big question mark on whether they'll actually crack the whip on K.C. Venugopal and his clear failures in reading the situation on ground and giving the right advice to the top brass and taking strategic, important decisions in Haryana. And that perhaps is what led to this drubbing that the Congress suffered in Haryana. Thanks very much, Rahul, for joining us with those details. We've given you a roundup, a view of what's really happened post the Haryana election results.